Hello fly guys, welcome to another fly tying video. We're going to tie a fun pattern today that has been kind of developed and changed and we think we've got it in the place where we want it now. This is a fly that I call a nader skater, and when you look at this thing you're gonna notice that it has some similarities to some other flies that are out there. This has been a really great fly pattern for me. It looks very similar to a tungsten surveyor from Lance Egan. It also has some things that you'll notice that make it kind of look like a sow bug. It's got silver ribbing. It's got the hot spots, red hot spot up here at the collar and also down at the butt. It's been a cool fly. Watch Lance Egan's video on his tungsten surveyor and you'll see some similarities, but you'll also see where I do things quite a bit differently than he does. This is a super easy fly. This is a size 12 fire hole 5/16. That's what I use for this fly. The 5/16 has been a really fantastic fly. They've also come up with recently a 5/51. This hook is it's slightly bigger gape, slightly longer, and this is a really cool fly. I've been experimenting with this one as well, but you can oversize the bead a little bit better on these hooks and it doesn't impede the gape of the hook. So those have been pretty fun. So size 12 fire hole 5/16, and we've got a 3.5 mil bead in silver. That's just a standard tungsten slotted bead. Now we're going to start with some red thread. This is just 70 denier UTC in red. And we're just going to lock the bead down and then get this thread back to the end of to about the bend of the hook. And then for the tail on this fly, we're just going to use about 6 or 8 strands of just natural pheasant tail. You could also do these tails out of coq de lion and they would be a little more slender. I've tied a few that way and they don't fish any different. They're just as good, just as deadly. So for this fly, we want to create a little bit of a red butt. And so what we're going to do is wrap our thread back, but not all the way back to the tail material. So we're going to leave it about right here. You can tell we've got just a little bit of space there between the tail and where we're going to start the dubbing. So the next material is going to be the silver wire. This is just a silver, what size is this? We've got UTC in small silver. We're going to tie that in. And this profile doesn't matter a whole lot. We just want to lock down that ribbing material. And again, you can see we've left some space so that we're going to end up with a red butt hanging out the back end of this thing. Okay, the next material is the dubbing. This is just hairline light shade rainbow, and I really like this color. You can also use just a rainbow sow scud from Wapsi. You can tell the difference in color. Fish probably don't care. Tie it with whatever rainbow scud dubbing you've got laying around. It'll work just fine. So we're gonna twist up this dubbing. And one thing that I've noticed with this hairline is it's a lot more, the fibers are a little stiffer. They don't dub down quite as tight right next to the fly. And so if you come forward just a little bit and then wrap it back and then start coming forward again, you can kind of lock down those first few fibers that don't like to twist into that dubbing noodle as well. Okay, we're going to add a little bit more dubbing here. We want to build this body up a little bit of a taper. You can see as I come through with this dubbing, if it's not tight enough, you get these little, I call them dubbing bubbles, but they don't wrap quite tight. So how you can fix that is just give this dubbing a slight pull down away from the fly and twist it back up. That'll tighten those back up and allow you to continue wrapping that dubbing without getting all screwy and having so many of those loose little dubbing bubbles pop up. Okay, so I'm thinking I'd like just a tiny bit more dubbing right there next to the bead. I want that slightly more tapered than we got it, so I'm going to put on just a little more. And again, I'm going to pull and twist to get that a little tighter, and that's all it is. Now you can see that's pretty darn buggy. That's okay. We're going to take care of that. All right, now you can see we've got a red butt right there at the back end of the fly. And we don't need all that bugginess for this fly, so we're just gonna give it a little haircut. Certainly doesn't have to be perfect. A little bugginess is always okay. But trim off some of those stragglers. Now we're just going to counter wrap this silver wire to create our ribbing, and that's just going to come forward till we've got it right next to the bead. And then what I like to do to wrap this wire down, to lock it down, is give it one wrap behind the wire and one wrap in front, and then one wrap behind the wire and one wrap in front. And a really easy way to do this, especially when you're getting a little tight here, you can capture that wire against the tip of your bobbin like this, so that then you can come behind and grab the wire and hold it down. But if you do that with pretty even wraps, couple in front, couple behind, couple in front, couple behind, then you end up with, I didn't even have to twirly bird that off, it just fell off because I had been moving the wire. So that's perfect. We're all good. Wire is off. And then we're just going to give this, I've actually got a little bit too much red because I want this to be slightly smaller hot spots. So I'm going to unwind a few wraps of the red, and then we're going to whip finish this. And I'm going to double whip finish this. So I'm going to give it a 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3. Now I've got those 6 wraps back on there that I maybe just took off. And the reason I like to do this is that now I don't need any head cement, I don't need any UV resin. This is a pretty durable fly just with that double whip finish, and I don't end up changing the color of my hot spot. That hot spot I want to be bright red, and I did this one with the UV resin so you can see the difference. Now you can tell that that UV resin darkened up that thread just a tiny bit. And I want that thread to be as bright as we can get it. So that's the fly. That's it. Easy peasy. Super fast, super easy. Few materials. It's not complicated. There's not any crazy techniques you have to use. Just tie a bunch of these. You can tie these with a lot of different colors. Instead of red, you can use an orange butt and hot spot. That works really well. A bright chartreuse also works really well. And I've done these also in purple. So give them a try. Let me know how they go. Peace.